Do you know what your daily calorie intake and macros are by chance? I'm assuming you don't track that meticulously, but do you have like a ballpark idea? Because like you're pretty lean. You're like, I don't know, 10% body fat or something and exercise regularly and or a healthy individual and exercise enough to make use of those calories. Like where do you know where that lies ballpark?
Yeah. So I don't track it religiously. I would say 200 to 225 grams of protein per day. That's pretty consistent because I'm getting some protein from cheese and dairy. And I also have 2 pounds of meat and some organs, maybe even 240 grams of protein per day. I think with all the honey and fruit I'm eating, I'm probably 200 to 250 grams of carbohydrates a day. And then the fat is probably the hardest one to estimate. If you think about cheese, and when I do ground beef, it's 20% ground beef. When I do steaks, they have ribeyes. I would say I'm close to 200 grams of fat a day, if not maybe a little more. So those are my ballpark macros. I think that's pretty reasonable. And if you do the math, I think it's like 3,200 calories a day or more.
How many grams of carbs again?
2 to 250.
Okay, so we're at like, dude, I have like 3560 on a calculator here. 3,560.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't doubt it.
240 grams protein would be 960 calories. And then you have the 200 carbs, which would be 800 calories. And then, so that's 1760. And then you said the 200 fat, was it?
Probably 150, 200 fat. Yeah.
Plus, yeah, 3,560. So staying that lean with that much intake, like it's pretty fucking good.
I don't doubt it, man. I mean, I think that's probably where I'm at. And to be fair, so when I'm in Costa Rica, I'm surfing 2 hours every morning. I love it. That's why I'm there. And then I'll come home and I don't do anything crazy. I don't do chronic cardio. I don't have a stair stepper. I don't run. I will lift weights, but it's not crazy. It's really not anything out of the ordinary, which is probably why, like I have moderate muscle, but not massive muscle. So I'll do front squats a few days a week, maybe once or twice a week. I'll do, a few sets of front squats. I'll do pull-ups every day, 2 or 3 sets. I'll do some dips just because I like it between working. And then, some days I'll do a few Nordic curls, and some days I'll go to the skate park and skate. That's going to burn some calories, but I'm not in the gym 2 hours a day after I surf by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
It actually, it surprises me sometimes. And it's like, okay, I think I do have a healthy metabolism. And I wonder, this is that age old question around where does most of our caloric burning come from? Like how much of it is from basal metabolic rate? Presumably I have a pretty good basal metabolic rate. Obviously muscle is going to burn calories. And I've never really thought that the idea that you could lose weight by exercising was going to be sustainable for humans anyway. Because I think if you're burning enough calories with your exercise, are you going to affect your thyroid negatively or cortisol? Like I definitely think building lean muscle mass by some sort of resistance exercise is critical for humans. Mm-hmm. But I've never really been attracted to the notion that you need to do an hour of cardio a day, or the way to get really lean is by doing cardio every day. Cause I don't. Some people would say, oh, you surf every day. And it's like, yeah, but sometimes I get 3 waves in 2 hours and I don't do anything out there.
Damn. Do you like listen to music out there? You just chill with the sound of the water, or
you can't listen to music in the ocean, dude?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been surfing, so yeah.
Oh, you got to go.
Okay.
No, you just chill out there. You see friends, you see stingrays jump in, you hear whales sometimes, you watch birds, you look at the sky, you think about life. It's good. And every once in a while you get a wave and you're like, that was the coolest 5 seconds of my life.
Nice. So like your typical day, you wake up and you surf every day for 2 hours? And
I love it.
So, okay. So like your cognitively sharp hours, like most people, when their cortisol spikes and they wake up, they have like, I don't know, like a good, like 6 to 8 hours in the tank. And then after that, it kind of like mental clarity, brain fog sets in a little bit, adenosine levels are increasing. You start to get just like not as capable of producing high quality work. Like, do you have like an allocated block for when you do your most intensive stuff? And like, where does that lie on your like day? Like, what's your sort of like daily routine?
Yeah. So I really think that for me, I'm lucky if I get 2 productivity blocks a day. And I think of these productivity blocks as 2 or 3 hours of like deep work.
Mhm.
And so I will create that between maybe like 11 and 1 p.m. and then maybe take an hour to look at the ocean or move around a little bit or 45 minutes and then try and do another one before 4 or 5 p.m. And by that time, I'm done. And at that point in Costa Rica, because I'm near the equator, the sun is always setting at the same time of the day. It's sunset. It's time to just chill out, watch the sun, look at the horizon, and be relaxed. And that's pretty much how I do it. Just two. I'm lucky if I get 2 good solid work like blocks a day.
You must have a really good, diverse team working for you then, because there's no way you'd be able to run a company with, I feel like, working that like 2 to 3 hours, like twice a day. Like you've got to be pretty fucking dialed in on those hours.
Oh, like I said, my role now at Heart and Soil is like mission and like the overall vision and like the science behind it.
Mhm.
But I've totally hired this team to do all the business stuff on the back end. Like,
do you do product dev still and like oversee and kind of like green light stuff before it goes out?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And we're sort of at the point with Heart and Soil where we're like, hey, look, I think some companies try to create product. We're kind of like thinking about it. We're like, man, we've got products that cover a lot of things. We're more interested in just helping spread the message to more people rather than just creating tons and tons of new products. We've got an exciting new product coming out soon with the collaboration with George St. Pierre, but that's
nice.
that's the new one. It's just exciting because I think a lot of people in George's audience aren't aware of the value of organs. And so cool, like millions more people are going to hear about this and hopefully benefit, or at least thousands.
No, it was like a really interesting, I don't know, collaboration when I saw you guys just like randomly on Instagram together. I was like, oh shit, like George is on the train now too.
He loves it, man. He loves it. And he talked about it. I mean, he posted a photo of his body composition after doing an animal-based diet for a month, and he looked ripped. And George is like the nicest human ever. But George is more balanced in his brain than I am. George is more balanced in his brain than I am. He can do the strict thing for a month and then go to a restaurant and eat tiramisu. And I can't do that. So kudos to him. But it kind of, he's good. He's more like, I think that's how more people are in their life. They go to the restaurant, they get tempted, they want to eat the dessert. Great. But I go to the restaurant, I'm like, nope, don't eat dessert ever.
So if you had something now, like a tiramisu, because you haven't ate stuff like that in so long, would your microbiome just be like, what the fuck? And just like send you into like an immune frenzy?
It could. I probably wouldn't feel very good. I probably wouldn't sleep very good. I might get a mood swing and be a little cranky. Like I would feel it, man.
Yeah.
I would feel it. And for me, that psychological penalty is not worth it. Like I really like performing well, whether it's in jujitsu and medical school or surfing or whatever I'm doing, like creative work. I want a clear brain. It's just, I don't drink alcohol for the same reason. I don't find it to be useful to me. I think if people want to drink alcohol, that's your choice, but I don't find it to be useful. Like I don't need it to relax, and I don't like the way that it impairs me the next day. Like I really like being in the ocean. I like being in nature. I want to do good creative work, which is the majority of what I do. So that's the trade-off for me. I'm always thinking like, is this worth it? And the answer is usually no.
So in terms of like your sleep, like you mentioned, impairing your sleep and whatnot, do you have, and your wind down time, or you just like watch the sunset and stuff like that? Do you have like a pretty regimented time you go to sleep and amount of hours you get in before you wake up? Like what's your sleep hygiene kind of look like?
Yeah, I've found that as I get older, I'm 44 years old. So as I get older, I'm much more sensitive to this. And if I have a consistent sleep time and a consistent wake time, I just feel so much better. So every once in a while in Costa Rica or wherever I am, I'm going to go out with friends because I want to see them, and I'll be out an hour, 2, 3 past my bedtime. And inevitably that compresses the sleep window, or it's very jarring for me. And it's like, it's worth it. Like, you know, sometimes in Costa Rica, friends come to visit and I want to be social with them. And I'm up late. But usually, I mean, people will laugh at this. Usually I go to sleep at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and I'm up at 5 or 5:30 in the morning. And then I'm in the ocean by 6 a.m. So that's the normal schedule. So I get a lot of time in bed. I'm definitely protecting 8, 9+ hours a night for sleep.